You've got to love what's yours. I always want to stay focused on who I am, even as I'm discovering who I am. Maturity and experience are part of my liberation. I'd rather not have anything than be a liar. I'm not ashamed of what I am and that I have curves and that I'm thick. I like my body. There's too much darkness in the world. Everywhere you turn, someone is trying to tear someone down in some way. Everywhere you go, there's a feeling of inadequacy, or a feeling that you're not good enough. I want to bring a certain light to the world. Failure isn't an option. I've erased the word fear from my vocabulary. And I think when you erase fear, you can't fail. I believe in the limitlessness of humans. We're capable of incredible things. At times, that realization is frightening. If I didn't love it, I would not record it. We are all one. We're not as separate as we oftentimes think. It's when we become afraid of everything and worried about everything that you are never going to reach your highest potential. I think you are who you are, and your kids will see who you are. So you'd better be a good person, because they are going to see it, and that's going to shape them. They are going to become you. A minor is one of my all-time favorite keys to play in. It's a very moody key, and also, A is the first letter of my name. It just represents the songs through my eyes. I don't have a ton of friends, but the friends I have are great ones. I don't have huge family, but the family I have is a great one. Things can be really empty in this world, and I don't just mean the music world. It can become a very meaningless place if you don't really understand. Who am I? Why am I here? What am I doing? To feel fulfillment and have a deeper level of understanding, personally, that is the most important thing. From the beginning, I've had to juggle and weigh the silly things people say, and I've learned that they're meaningless, and they're mostly inaccurate. So I don't worry about it, because there's nothing for me to deal with. I'm a very positive person, but this whole concept of having to always be nice, always smiling, always happy, that's not real. It was like I was wearing a mask. I was becoming this perfectly chiseled sculpture, and that was bad. That took a long time to understand. I really appreciate Frank Ocean's lyrical style. I really appreciate Frank Ocean's lyrical style. I appreciate the way that he can kind of draw you into this personal space, but it's still lyrical. It's almost poetic, in a way, but it's very personal at the same time. When I first started getting into the business, a young woman in a music game that was mostly men, I did feel inadequate. For me, doing a show, the excitement of singing live, and the possibility that you're not gonna be perfect, that's the thrill of it. When I was first learning songs, I'd have a favorite song, and I'd take the chords and twist them around. I'd learn the chords and then play them backward. That was my first experimenting with writing a song. Some of the greatest artists did their best work when they got political. I always want to stay focused on who I am, even as I'm discovering who I am. I really like to live my life in a low-key fashion. I'd rather believe in my own choice and see it all go wrong than do something I'm not fully convinced of and later feel guilty about it. My mixed-race background made me a broad person, able to relate to different cultures. But any woman of color, even a mixed color, is seen as black in America, so that's how I regard myself. We have the potential to help people out of poverty, out of disease, out of slavery and out of conflict. Too often, we turn the other way because we think there's nothing we can do. If I want to be alone, someplace I can write, I can read, I can pray, I can cry, I can do whatever I want, I go to the bathroom. What breaks my heart is suffering of any kind. Too often, our world is divisive and cruel where it needs to be uniting and loving. I was tired and I had overworked myself and burnt myself out. So I went to Egypt by myself. When I saw what was built there, it made me understand how powerful we are, that we can create anything, and I felt like I needed to create things that were timeless too. The element of fire to me is very powerful because of what it symbolizes. How it symbolizes a strength. It symbolizes something that's unstoppable. You can't get through it, you know. When I had nothing else, I had my mother and the piano. And you know what? They were all I needed. I feel more like I'm a person who has so much to offer in different capacities that it would be a danger for me not to give myself a chance to spread my wings in all different directions. My mom always said, "Don't date a guy who thinks he's prettier than you." I feel the presence of a higher power. I believe that what you give is what you get. It's universal law. I believe in the power of prayer and of words. I've learned that when you predict that negative things will happen, they do. I fell in love with the piano. I knew it was me. I was dying to play. A lot of times I watch TV and I watch film, and there's so many things I'd love to talk about that I feel don't get the opportunity to be shown. Sometimes things become very stereotypical and one-sided, and I feel like it's such a colorful world. People don't expect me to be as funny as I am. I have big everything on the bottom, but I love my legs. You've got to love what's yours. We're all going to change. Otherwise, it's boring. I feel like the majority of the fear that I had or that we hold from other people. They're like people that we trust. They're their fears. All of a sudden we think that they're our fears. I see what happens when one gets very attached to material things. That's just not what my life is. Mozart would play a counterpart with his left hand while using his right to mock it. It was blue, dark, shadowy, and it made me feel something. That's when I realized music was inside me. I would hate to make music and people love me for something that isn't me. To be nobody but yourself in a world which is doing its best, day and night, to make you like everybody else means to fight the hardest battle which any human being can fight. It takes courage to grow up and become who you really are. When you've chosen the right path for yourself, you usually know it immediately. The choice just sits right in your spirit. You're not second-guessing your decision or thinking about turning back. You realize there are challenges ahead, but you're not looking over your shoulder, wishing you'd gone left instead of right at the last fork in the road. We don't draw loved ones into our lives coincidentally. They're there to shine a light on our unfinished emotional business, to reveal to us our deepest tendencies. And as my life is proving to me even now, Those patterns appear time and time again, often cleverly disguised. And they'll keep right on showing up until we're willing to truly look at them. You don't value me, then I must not be valuable.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It really helps us. Thanks.